Welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. Hello friends, your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here. I am joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher, the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then hopefully we'll have him Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem. But before we start, I want to take this moment to apologize to all you wonderful fans out there for not being on last night. I had a very long day yesterday, in a good way, though. Two very busy, two big commitments on my end. Well, one very special commitment, and it was because of that and so many things that I had to take a sick day, if you will. So, but not tonight. I'm ready to go. So let's get into it. Monday Night Raw live tonight from the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa, on the USA Network. First of two shows here, because here's the thing. In just a little bit, they're going to start taping next week's edition of Monday Night Raw because it'll be 2 days before Christmas, and they obviously didn't want to do a live show. So very nice of them to do that, give them a holiday break. Well-deserved. So the next live Raw won't be for 2 weeks on December the 30th, the final Raw of the year in Hartford. So, but for right now, let's get into this one. We started it off with the newly heel turned Seth Rollins along with the AOP. Very simple. A strong promo from Rollins, who is off to a great start in his new heel role. He's a natural heel, and he comes across extremely confident in what he's doing right now. His tease for doing something unpopular during the show was a really good hook for the rest of the show. He said he had a score to settle, and he apologized to the fans in advance. Brilliant. That's all there is to say on that. So maybe not as good as last week's, but it was still another strong and solid promo from Seth Rollins, although I thought last week's was just a smidgen better, if I'm going to be honest with you. So, but very good, though. So nothing more to say. MF, Seth Rollins off to a very good start in his brand new heel role.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Definitely solid start and a well done promo, to say the very least. And it's going to be very interesting to see what they bring to the table after that. So I really got nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. It was a strong opening, strong promo, and it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of it. So nothing else I'm going to add. It's yours for you.
All right. Moving on next. Let me see. All right. And then we started it off with a return match from last night. Only difference was this was a non-title match. The Raw Tag Team Champions, Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, squaring off against the best tag team in the world, the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And when all was said and done, the winners of the match, in 19 and a half minutes, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, a magic killer for the win. And MF, the Gallows and Anderson pinned the tag team champions non-title match. I think we all know what that means. Championship committee?
This looks like it. It feels like it. I think there's a very good chance it is championship committee. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Maybe they'll wait until the Royal Rumble to do it in Houston at Minute Maid Park. Right now, it looks like it will be. So, yeah, no doubt about it. This is definitely championship committee moment and a big win for the best tag team in the world. Gallows and Anderson representing the OC. So, yeah, this is a solid, I want to say, almost 3.5 stars because of the length and how long the fight went. There was slow elements in the match, no doubt about it. But I thought this was a nice payoff at the end. And plus for them to get the win, that was a pleasant surprise, a nice victory for them. Championship committee moment, 3 to 3.5 for me. Dee, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll agree. 3.5. But it definitely was a very, very good match. Better. I think this one actually came out a little bit better than the one at the pay-per-view, especially since we actually had an ending to this, where the one at the pay-per-view we did not. So I'm not going to add anything. I don't really have anything negative to say on it, so it's yours for you.
Yeah. There were a lot of reasons why I was not on the show last night. First and foremost, my very special family commitment that went a lot later than I thought it would. And number two, because it went as late as I thought it would, I didn't really get a chance to see the show. And I felt like I would have been a disservice if I had been on the show without reviewing the show without seeing it. So, but anyways, I did hear about it. I read the results, and I caught the video that MF and Didi did last night. Well done, guys. And yeah, Didi's right. This was so much better than that than the match we had at TLC. And Samoa Joe on commentary said that Gallows and Anderson were the new champions after the fall, but he botched a little botcheroo by Joe, but he jumped in and said that they should be. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, this was an effective way to build to the rematch, though. If you're looking for logic, there's really not a good reason why this rematch wouldn't have been for the tag title, since they fought to a double count out the night before. If I had been on, I would have NA'd that one, absolutely, but not tonight. 3.5 stars. Well done. Great effort. So, but then again, Royal Rumble, that's a ways off. But then again, they like to stack the card, especially on the major shows. So I could see it maybe being on the kickoff show. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Or maybe it could be on that show next week. You never know. It could be on that tape show. We'll wait and see when the spoilers come out. Probably during the overnight into the wee hours of the morning. So we'll find out. And I feel for those fans in Des Moines, Iowa, man. I mean, having to sit through one is one thing, but having to sit through another on the same night, I hate to say it, but I'm glad it's you boys and not us.
Well, from what I heard is what they're going to do is they're going to run the show like they would normally do, but there's no cutouts. There's no commercial breaks. They're going right into the action. So no. Plus, on top of that, here's something that a lot of you people did not know, that they actually started the show earlier today. So that first hour of Raw was actually pre-recorded. That was not live. None of this was live tonight, Anthony. They actually started the Raw at 7 p.m. Eastern, and they were feeding it out while the show was going on. So that's what they did. Yeah, no. So when the show started at 8, yes, it started, but we were 1 hour behind what was going on with the entire show. So as a matter of fact, spoilers was actually hitting the rounds on the internet.
No, I must have missed them, but I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention, MF. So
there are spoilers. So okay. I could probably go on the search right now and find it for you if you want, but we'll do the show. So it's all yours.
Okay. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for that, MF. But anyways, of course, what's ridiculously raw without cutouts? And well, here was one: Eric Rowan squashing a Hammernager. Dante Leon squashed him in just north of 2 minutes. And then we had another one of those Liv Morgan vignettes. So, it kind of looked like maybe it could be the Emelina thing 2.0. We'll see. So keep an eye out for that. And then here's another cutout. Lana, Bobby Lashley. Lana, here's the thing. Lana pulled out the ring and asked Bobby Lashley to ask her to marry him. And it was apparently rehearsed. Oh, my Lord. So, as much as the Lana and Lashley angle bores us to death, wrestling weddings, though, tend to bring the ratings, especially a certain one 20 years ago that MF and I had so much fun with. And you know where I'm going with that one, MF. So that's a lot of history right there. So nothing more to say on that. Get that nonsense out of the way. Now let's get into some good stuff here. A gauntlet match to determine the number one contender for the United States Heavyweight Championship. It started with the 24/7 champion R-Truth against Akira Tozawa. Tozawa wins that 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Then it was Ricochet against Akira Tozawa. Ricochet wins 6 minutes, 5 seconds. And then Matt Hardy comes out. Ricochet beats Matt Hardy in roughly 6.5 minutes. But then this is when it really got good. Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo. Humberto Carrillo, he wins that 17 minutes and 55 seconds. And then Andrade comes out, and you thought it was really going to get good. Oh, they pulled the rug out from under us. They do a beatdown angle. The gauntlet ends with no winner. Oh, man. Didi Woodson, I mean, what do you make of all this? I mean, even with the non-finish, the action was still hella fun, though, especially Ricochet and Carrillo. Damn, that was fun.
Oh, yeah. Out of the whole gauntlet, that was the best match out of the whole thing was Ricochet and Carrillo. I mean, that was just awesome to watch those two guys go at it. But, yeah, no payoff in the end. That just kind of ruins the whole idea of it. I mean, what were you thinking, WWE? Throw all these guys in on a match just to give no one a title shot that was in the match? I mean, come on. You take up a whole hour just for a gauntlet and then give us no payoff. I mean, that sucks. I'm going to go ahead and rate it mainly because of that one match. So I'm going to give it about 2 stars because of, just because that one match was so awesome, and the other ones, at least they had some sort of action in it, even though they weren't as great. But that last one wasn't even a match. It was just a beatdown, and it just was very uncalled for. So, yeah, that's about all I'm going to say on it. I mean, because if I keep talking, I'm going to be ranting even more. So it's yours.
Yeah, please keep that brief, Didi. But anyways, yes. Vic Joseph asked the right question. As it appears, they just spent a lot of time on a gauntlet match that didn't have an actual ending. There was some good action in the various matches, but this is why I worry about Des Moines, Iowa. That crowd is dead. That's one of the deadest crowds there is. And the commercial breaks between the various matches didn't help. It's logical to have a brief break, but the long break takes away from the basic concept of the gauntlet match. Andrade hitting his finisher on the concrete looked great and was good for some heat. And I like that Carrillo was actually selling it and didn't just pop up seconds later as if nothing happened. But overall, though, I'm going to give this about 3.5 to 4 stars. I'm not going to punish these guys because they busted their ass. I mean, especially Ricochet and Carrillo. Oh, my goodness. That was insane. Their match alone was 4 to 4.25 stars alone, those two. But as a whole, I would probably give this about 3.25 to 3.5, mainly because of that ridiculous ending. But then Seth Rollins and the AOP came out. Rey Mysterio checked on Carrillo, and then Rollins and AOP lay out Rey Mysterio. And Rollins challenged Rey Mysterio for a United States Heavyweight Championship match next week. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye out on that development. But for right now, 3.25 to 3.5 stars overall. But Carrillo and Ricochet alone, that was 4 to 4.25. I mean, you give those guys TV time, you give them pay-per-view time or whatever, they're going to tear the damn house down. And they did tonight. So well done, Ricochet and Humberto. That was that was fun. So, but there was one thing, MF, that you noticed during the Ricochet and Carrillo fight. I mean, this would have been a perfect commentary moment for us. Zelina Vega came out, and she had that that devilish grin on her face, and yep, and it would have been that vintage Jerry Lawler, if looks could kill, she'd be on death row moment. So, I mean, that would have been perfect for you.
Oh yeah, and look, she basically marked the territory. The devilish look, that evil grin, was directed to Humberto Carrillo, and the next thing you know, here comes Andrade, and kaboom, drops the hammer on the kid. Look, Ricochet and Carrillo definitely was the fight of the gauntlet. Absolutely, without a doubt, no questions asked. Best fight of the entire gauntlet. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, like you saw, Seth Rollins has now laid out the challenge. He's challenging Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title next week. That's going to be your fight. Spoiler alert. Well, no, and this is not because of there's any spoilers. I haven't found any as of yet. But I'm putting my 2 cents in here, and I'm trying to gonna be Paul Heyman for a moment. Spoiler alert, Seth Rollins is going to become the next United States champion, and that will happen next week. That's my personal opinion. That's my prediction. Like I said, there is no spoilers as of right now. So I don't know if this actually has happened or not. I'm just giving you my personal thoughts. Rollins will win the belt. He's got AOP on the side of him. He's got himself. And you know now with the heel faction, and because of the fact that the WWE champion is gone and not around, this is where you elevate the U.S. title, which is actually a blessing in disguise, because one thing that we've been very hard on was the legitimacy of the title belts. When is a belt going to get elevated to status that makes it relevant in WWE? When the WWE title went bye-bye, and when Lesnar had it and held the belt hostage on Monday Night Raw, what was the belt that benefited from that? The Intercontinental Championship. And with that, the IC title got elevated up, became the main belt, and became legitimate in a certain light, in a certain way. I believe that's what's going to happen with the U.S. title. I think with Seth Rollins as your United States champion, he will elevate the title and bring it to prestige and honor since John Cena had the belt. And remember, when Cena was champion, he elevated it by doing the open challenge. I think with Rollins as U.S. champion, he will elevate it because at the time, you're going to have a credible, legitimate champion that people are going to want to gun for. And especially now with Rollins in his heel character, it's going to make it even more better for a lot of these guys like an Humberto Carrillo, like a Rey Mysterio, like all the mid-card guys on Monday Night Raw, and maybe some quote-unquote on the fringe main eventers. They'll get their opportunities now to go up against one of the top guys. Anthony, you said it, the frontline soldier of Monday Night Raw in Seth Rollins. I got nothing more to say about that. The fight itself was an NA. I'll give it 2 stars, but like Didi Woodson would say, but that's my thoughts, and that's why. They're not done with Carrillo versus Andrade. That's the thing I'm thinking is Carrillo and Andrade, they're not done by a long shot.
No.
But it makes me wonder. It does make me wonder. Zelina was out there. Now, here's the question I'm thinking. Is she there because she wants to help Andrade? Or is she there because she sees the next diamond in the rough? in Humberto Carrillo.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That would be one hell of an elevation for Humberto.
I mean, Zelina took Andrade in NXT, and you saw what happened. You saw the rise of El Idolo.
NXT champion.
I'm saying it right now. What if she wants to work her magic again? And this time, go after one of, Anthony, you even said it, one of the fastest rising stars on Monday Night Raw. And I know how much you love him. I know how much you've been very high on Humberto Carrillo, and you've been more higher on him than I have. And I'll openly admit that. You've been very high on Humberto. But imagine that. Humberto Carrillo with Zelina Vega in his corner.
Wow. That's
Dude,
something to think about.
She brought magic to Andrade's career. Can lightning strike twice again?
Very possible.
It's all yours, my friend.
Okay. That's definitely something to think about. All right. Then we had a women's matchup here. Asuka squaring off against, from NXT, where's Bullock when we need him? The virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo. Yes, you know Deonna Purrazzo, one of the best young independent wrestlers in the business today. You know, she's worked for so many great promotions, you know, like Impact, just to name a few, and other great indie promotions. And I know MF obviously has done his homework on that, because we all know MF's the indie guy out of us. So, but anyways, Asuka and Deonna Purrazzo squared off. Asuka won the match, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, I like the brief video. They did an introductory video to introduce Purrazzo, to establish that she was not just a local enhancement talent. But that said, I'm not really sure why they opted to introduce Purrazzo in this fashion. But nonetheless, Asuka made quick work of Purrazzo. I mean, she did get in a little decent offense there, but Asuka made quick work of her. And then after the match, they did a sit-down interview. The Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch being interviewed by the beautiful Charlie Caruso. And, you know, we talked about it, and it looks like they slowly started to plant the seeds for a Becky Lynch, Asuka rematch at the Royal Rumble. And I like the idea that Asuka has Lynch's number, and that was a good segment overall. But Charlie bringing up people who feel Asuka should be champion just did not ring true. But other than that, though, I mean, I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to see Becky Lynch and Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. And I think they'll give Becky the win back after Asuka beat Becky at this past year's Royal Rumble at Chase Field in Arizona when they were fighting over the SmackDown Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the main event of the evening, speaking of return matches, this is a return match over 8 months in the making. This was a return match from WrestleMania. The Viper, Randy Orton, squaring off against the phenomenal AJ Styles. No Gallows and Anderson in AJ's corner. But when all was said and done, the winner of the match, 16 minutes and 20 seconds, the Viper, Randy Orton, he gets the win. AJ was going for the phenomenal forearm, but Randy Orton countered it into a picture-perfect RKO for the 1-2-3. Orton wins. Oh, my. And you notice something. The show did not end right at 11 o'clock. The show ended at 11:03. I think the overrun's back. And it was the return of the overrun. You know, because 3 hours just is not enough time for Raw. But anyways, a great main event. This was another 3.5-star match. Main event was solid, and the finish played off of what they did during the WrestleMania feud with the head fake and Orton going for an RKO. A lot of in-ring action on this week's show. And if you thought this live crowd was quiet, know that you'll be seeing them again next week, as the Christmas week Raw is also being taped there. So just a little little spoiler there, but nonetheless, a 3.5-star match, another great matchup, and a great way to cap off what I thought was one of the better Raws we've seen in a while. Not the best one. The best Raw of the year, hands down, was the Madison Square Garden show back in September, but we haven't really had too many good shows since then, but this is one of the rare times I can say Raw actually did a fair job tonight, a decent job. Only a handful of cutouts here, so I'm very pleased. So that definitely is going to put SmackDown on notice after that piss poor effort they had on Friday night. And MF, you should be counting your lucky stars that you had to work that night. So, because it was that bad. So that's all there is to say on that. 3.5 stars, another great matchup here. So nothing more to say. MF, you're a man, the Viper. He evens the score. It was 8 months in the making, the return match from Mania, but Orton got the win back from the Phenomenal One.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to say, the very least. But the victory was short lived, because what you didn't talk about was Gallows and Anderson showed up, jumped Orton after the fight was over.
And the Viking Raiders came out.
Viking Raiders tried to show up to try to even up the odds, and they got jumped. So the strength in numbers came in, and it was the OC standing tall at the end of the night. Normally, Randy Orton not really very prone to getting any help because he likes to be a loner. But there's been times where he has acquired a little help. Back in, not too long ago on SmackDown, he did have Revival. Now, if he has the Viking Raiders on his side, that's some beef to have on his side to get Eric and Ivar on your good side. But with Randy Orton, he's such a wild card. You never know what he's gonna do from time to time. He might RKO you. He might RKO the opponents, but could RKO you guys at the end too. Orton's he's not the sharpest knife or the sharpest tool in the shed. So you might want to caution very carefully, tread very carefully when you go with Randy Orton. But great way to close the show. 3.5 stars for me, and Didi, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I don't really have a whole lot to add to it. Y'all pretty much said it. So let's put the bow on it.
Get into our overall review, and good old MF Michael Fletcher will start us off. Very good show tonight.
Solid 7.5 for me. I thought this was a very good Monday Night Raw. There was a couple of cutouts that we got to kind of punish them for, but at the end of the day, they nailed it. No, this was a very, very, very good show. I got nothing bad to say about it. Yeah, it does put some pressure on SmackDown, no doubt about it, but I think we're going to start focusing on Royal Rumble for the most part. So we're going to have to wait and see. And I think we're going to get a little good of a payoff here, because remember, with Daniel Bryan now coming back with that new look after what he did last night at TLC, I think SmackDown's going to put themselves in a very, very, very good position to set themselves up. Plus, obviously, the Roman Reigns and King Corbin thing is not done by a long shot. So we got that to worry about. And then we just got to wait and see what they're going to do with all the other storylines. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I got really nothing bad or nothing else to add to it. So, yeah, 7.5 for me. Didi, I'll give it to you.
I'll give it a solid 7. I mean, it wasn't super bad, but it wasn't the greatest thing in the world either. I mean, it was good for what it was worth. We did have some really good. A couple of really good matches. We had some really low points, and they did come through with doing a promo on the new Liv Morgan. But of course, we still don't know a whole lot because it's still to be continued. So tonight was the bath scene, I guess you could say. So I don't have a whole lot of negative to say. I think I kind of covered most of it earlier. So. I'll see you guys hopefully Wednesday night. So good night.
All right, good night, Didi. And I found the spoilers for Raw. I found the spoilers for next week's Raw. not gonna, give the results away, but I'll just tell you what you can expect, like I do with Impact Wrestling. We're gonna have Kevin Owens squaring off against Mojo Rawley in a street fight. Bobby Lashley squaring off against Cedric Alexander. And they announce that the Lashley and Lana wedding will take place on Monday Night Raw in 2 weeks on December 30th. Hartford, get ready. You're getting a wedding. You got yourself a wedding and a wedding date. That's all there is to say on that. So, Hartford Civic Center, get ready in 2 weeks. Who knows what happens with that? Drew McIntyre against Zack Ryder. Becky Lynch with an in-ring segment calling out Asuka. I think this is where they're going to set up the Royal Rumble match officially. Aleister Black will be in a squash match. Ricochet, one-on-one with Tony Nese. And we have ourselves another NXT lady debuting. Tonight we had Deonna Purrazzo against Asuka. Charlotte Flair is going to go one-on-one with Chelsea Green. Yes, Chelsea Green, Laurel Van Ness from Impact Wrestling, the fiance of Zack Ryder. What a moment for Chelsea Green. Her first match in WWE, she's going to go against the Queen. Wow, that's going to be something. Then from there, 6-man tag team matchup. The OC against Randy Orton and the Viking Raiders. Eric Rowan in a squash match. Rusev one-on-one with No Way Jose. And then in the main event for the United States Heavyweight Championship, Rey Mysterio against Seth Rollins. So keep an eye out on how that ends. That's all I'm going to say on that. So that's what you're gonna see next week on Monday Night Raw for Christmas. But anyways, I'm with MF. I'm gonna give this a 7.5 because we had like 3 or 4 quality matches on this show tonight. Randy Orton and AJ Styles, very good match, great main event. The gauntlet match, even with the BS ending, was just too fun, especially Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo. You got to go out of your way to see that one, really. And then we had that very good tag team match with the OC against the Viking Raiders, that non-title match. Rollins continuing to shine in his new heel role. And that's really all there is to say on that. I mean, the only nonsense we had was the Rowan squash and the latest in the never-ending nonsense with Lana and Lashley. There was no Rusev, but we'll see what happens. So that's basically it. So that's 7.5 for me. I really don't know how that's gonna go down, but it is what it is. So, all right. Impact Wrestling, as we get into Tony's take here, this was not as good, if I'm going to be honest with you. We started it off with an old school rules match, RVD against Rhino, Tommy Dreamer the referee. RVD wins it, 11 minutes and 5 seconds. 2-star match. It was okay, but it was very lethargic. That's all I can say. 20 years ago when they were having those matches, they were fun, but this time around, not so much. Moose against AC Romero. Moose wins the match, 12 minutes, 50 seconds. 2.5 stars. I mean, it was solid, and Romero got in a lot before losing, but it started feeling long towards the end. Falaba against Raj Singh. Falaba wins, 4 minutes, 50 seconds. It was okay, and I love that Ba and Raj was a bit better than usual. The tag team open, Rich Swann and Willie Mack versus Jake and Dave Crist versus the Rascals versus the Reno Scum. And Rich Swann and Willie Mack wins the match, 13 minutes and 40 seconds. They are now the number 1 contenders, and they will challenge for the Impact Tag Team Championships at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view next month. 3-star match. Good match. They played up the Swan run in the gauntlet, as well as last week when the North praised him and tried to play mind games with Swan and Mac. And, we'll wait and see on that. Tessa Blanchard against Madman Fulton. Tessa Blanchard wins in 3 minutes by disqualification. It existed as a setup to weaken Tessa, and that was okay in that regard. But Don Callis on commentary also needs to rein it in and needs to stop with the, oh my God, we need to stop this BS. Portraying Tessa as a victim. You anointed her as your top contender. Just call the match like any other match. So really all there is to say on that. And then Sami Callihan against Ken Shamrock. Sami Callihan wins 5 minutes, 40 seconds. 1 star. It was not a good match in any way. Shamrock looked gassed 2 minutes in. But Sami sent his message in the end, and that's all there is to it. This was a 5 out of 10. Wrestling-wise was not a good show. It was tedious. Nothing was engaging, and it felt sad at times. The strength of the show was the angle advancement and hard-to-kill build, which was good. But overall, it felt like a big off week for the show, if I'm being honest. So I can only give it a 5. So really all there is to say on that. So let's see what's on tap for tomorrow's show. Let me just find it here. While I wait for that, let's get into 205 Live real quick. And this was better, if I'm going to be honest with you. This was definitely a better show than Impact was. And it had a debut, another big debut on there as well. We started it off with Raul Mendoza against Aria Daivari. Raul Mendoza. Well, actually, hold on. I got the Impact. The Impact stuff's coming up now. A little slow on my end. Okay, here we go. There we are. Coming up tomorrow night on Impact Wrestling, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on Access TV, with an encore at 11. We had RVD and Katie Forbes. They come out and they cut a promo, and he gets interrupted by Brian Cage. That's very interesting. TJP going up against Daga. Joey Ryan against AC Romero. Jordan Grace against Tennille Dashwood. Ethan Page against Rich Swann. Ace Austin against Petey Williams. And then Sami Callihan cuts a promo, interrupted by Tessa Blanchard, and then Madman Fulton came out. Ken Shamrock came out. All hell breaks loose. So that all goes down tomorrow night on Access TV. Now let's get into 205 Live. Raul Mendoza defeating Aria Daivari. 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Good opener with Mendoza looking good. That was a 3-star match. Joaquin Wilde making his debut. Now, if you don't know who Joaquin Wilde is, he was known as Zema Ion, DJ Z, in Impact Wrestling. MF and I know him very well. Former X Division champion, multi-time X Division champion, and a great heel. But then he suffered a what we thought was a career-ending injury. But then he's back, and I can't believe he's back. I mean, after everything he's been through, I mean, all the injuries and illnesses that he's endured, I'm so proud of him. I mean, I'm very happy to see him. So he had an easy win. Not the best debut, but I'm hoping that he gets more opportunities. And then Tony Nese against Danny Burch. Tony Nese wins the match, 13 minutes, 3 seconds. This was the fight of the night, 3.25 stars, a good main event to close out the show with Danny Burch impressing again in another loss. 6 3/4 to 7 out of 10. Pretty good show. Guys working hard and some good in-ring actions. So that's really all there is to say on that. So that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. I just want to be sure. Are you back on Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem?
I am back on Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem. No doubt about it. I'm back. And I'm back on a more permanent basis. My hours were just for that 1 week. So, no, I'm back. I'm good to go. So, Wednesday night, 10:30 Eastern. We're going to do it again, guys. We're back. Wednesday Night Mayhem. I'll get to host again. You guys know the routine. I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. We're gonna do All Elite Wrestling, NXT, and we're gonna leave it with that. And then Anthony, Thursday night, NFL, Thursday. And then Friday, I'm back again to do another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk. And this time, I'm going to go into the fire. That's right. That was the big pay-per-view this past week, which was NWA. NWA Into the Fire, which was their big pay-per-view show. And boy, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
We got a lot to talk about. We had ourselves a bomb dropped on us, and I was very excited with this announcement because a certain someone from Villain Enterprises decided to show up, and as of now, has signed with NWA. A lot of people thought, he's gonna go to AEW. He's gonna go to AEW.
Nope.
Oh no, he ain't.
No, he's not.
Not for the foreseeable future. Not for how long it's gonna be. Because right now, he's in NWA. He's now with the fastest rising company. And I gotta get credit where credit's due. Because a lot of people didn't really know what to expect with NWA. A lot of people were slamming it, not liking it back in the day. And then it was, can you believe it? The lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins,
Billy Corgan.
And now all of a sudden, we're talking about NWA in a more positive light. Ever since they brought back Power with their studio-style wrestling, we've been loving it.
Yes, we have.
As far as Into the Fire, well, you'll get my thoughts about it on Friday night. Okay. Spoiler alert, I was very happy with the way the show went. Very happy with the way the show went. So,
I'm sure.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
We'll do it on Friday. That's right. Until then, we'll see you guys. Have a good night. So, Anthony, take it home.
Yep, you heard MF. Wednesday night Mayhem at 10:30. AEW Dynamite. Big shows there with Jericho and Jungle Boy headlining it. But, of course, NXT. That's the big one. The double main event. Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, NXT Women's Championship. Adam Cole, Finn Balor, NXT Championship. You don't want to miss that. That's a must-see show right there. Thursday night, NFL Thursday. Time to be determined. I have plans that night, but I should be back within a reasonable time, so we should be able to do the show on Thursday night. Big show there, Week 16, and maybe if you're good enough, maybe we'll have MF bring us up to date with the playoff scenarios because I know how much you all love that. So we'll see what happens with that. So many great matchups to get into on that, and then Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. Friday night SmackDown, and of course that I cannot wait to hear what he has to say about that NWA Power show. And then next week, started off with Ridiculously Raw, and next week we will have an announcement about our holiday week schedule because next week's the big holiday week. So we'll definitely have to put our heads together and come up with the game plan on that. So, but for right now, we're gonna put the bow on this. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF back at the helm, it's your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit the phenom Michael Bullock, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and always and forever Derek Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you'll be watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube. StreamYard.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.